Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well and feeling well out there on this beautiful Monday. I know Monday is not everybody's favorite day of the week, but regardless, let's try to make it a good day. I know I am. I'm volunteering on a field trip for my little girl. Today, we're going to head to a local farm. Check that out. It's kind of weird having a field trip on a Monday. I was talking to my wife about that. I was like, why would they make a field trip on a Monday? Kind of lowers the excitement level a little bit. But regardless, it's still going to be fun. We're going to make it a great day. Treat it like it's a Friday. But hopefully you guys have a great day. But before we get going with our day, we're going to talk a little bit of weather. And I appreciate you folks joining me this morning as we do so. It's going to be some severe weather again today. A lot of areas could see it. I don't think it's going to be as severe as yesterday, but millions of people could experience severe weather again. In fact, a lot of people are experiencing it this morning in and around the St. Louis area and surrounding areas. So we'll try to figure that out, figure out what the leftovers of that storm, that complex area of storms will do, and then we'll talk about everybody else too. With that being said, if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and I appreciate a pretty good start, first start to May to the channel. I've mentioned it many times, probably too many times, that usually in May things really start to tank and slow down with the channel, and really probably with anybody's weather YouTube channel. But you know, just there's less to talk about. You know, it kind of starts to shift just that hot and humid air. There's still storms, especially in May, but really once you get into June and July before hurricane season, things slow down. But it's been a great start to May. Yesterday morning's video hit the most views of any May video I've ever made since starting this channel. So any new viewers, subscribers, welcome. It's a little bit of a different atmosphere on this channel. We're kind of a family atmosphere here. We all look out for one another and pray for one another. So welcome to any new viewers, subscribers, and so forth. If you guys do have anything that I can pray for, please put it in the comments below. It not only gives me an opportunity to pray for it, it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Let's get rolling this morning. We always start off with the water vapor loop. You got this area of storms that's surging through Illinois, Missouri this morning, making its way into Kentucky. And this entire region right here will be a main topic of this video this morning. And we got an upper level low that we're going to watch. This is going to slowly move into the west, and this will promote severe weather later in the week. And we'll get more detailed on that, probably be in this region right in here. We'll get more detailed on that as we get closer to it, and that'll become a main topic in these videos. But today, you have a pretty large slight risk, and this goes all the way from northern Arkansas, areas of central to southeast Missouri, the Boot Hill, Missouri, through areas of Tennessee, a large section of Kentucky and the Ohio Valley, and then you got a slight risk of severe thunderstorms for Texas. I'll talk about why, but I do think we'll get a marginal risk maybe on the next update somewhere down here in Louisiana, maybe even southern Mississippi and southeast Texas. But we'll see. We'll see if that actually happens. Could even get some thunderstorms in the Carolinas today. Tornado threat, just a 2% risk, but some of these could spin, so be aware of this. 2% risk of a tornado. Wind threat, you got the 15% risk. And that's a 15% risk of winds pushing 50 knots or higher. That's 55 to 60 miles per hour. Same thing down here. I always like to explain the criteria to any new viewers or people who don't understand. Then you got the hail threat, just a 15% risk of hail. And that is, there is a 15% risk of hail in excess of 1 inch or larger in diameter in this region. So there will be a little bit of a flooding threat today, right here where all the action will occur. In southern Illinois, areas of Indiana and Missouri, even portions of Kentucky. That slight risk means there's at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance being met. So it all really kind of depends on how much rain you've gotten in this area lately, how saturated the soil is, or how dry it is. So we're going to talk about the area that could get hit the hardest today first, and then we'll do what we always do and expand it and talk about all the regions. So let's talk about what's going on in and around the St. Louis area this morning. Storms have just moved through the area. You're still dealing with some rain, but you got storms that just moved through Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis. They're trailing. Why does radar scope always do this? Here we go. And just heading probably right. This is probably going to make it all the way to the Boot Hill, Missouri. This is going to probably make it all the way into western Kentucky, probably eventually trail off into areas of Indiana, but we'll see how much this hangs together. There was a section of this storm that was severe, but right now, just a line of, here we go, just a line of strong storms. It likes to go crazy when I do the zoom in, zoom out button on my mouse here, but here we go. This is a good view. Indiana right here, Indianapolis, Evansville down here, Carbondale right here. These storms will try to maintain strength, but I expect an outflow to get out ahead of this storm, create a cool pool of air at the surface and aloft, and this will help basically kill the ingredients ahead of this storm to maintain this storm. But we'll see. It could, but we'll expect additional showers and storms to form in this area a little bit later this afternoon. That's what we're going to talk about right here. So we're starting it off around, in fact, let's go on and back it up here. Here's that line of storms showing up on the HRRR model this morning. This will head into areas of Indiana. So if you're in southern Indiana throughout the late morning hours, western Kentucky, heck, even maybe western areas of Tennessee, this convection will continue. We'll see if it re-energizes on the next panel here when we switch a little bit further east. I'm not leaving you guys hanging in Ohio and further eastern areas of Kentucky on purpose. I'm going to talk about you guys here in a second. But then there's a little bit of a clearing. You know, if you're wondering what time frame we're at, it's about 1 p.m. Back this 2 p.m. up 1 hour because we're in Central Time and this is an Eastern Time and I can't change it, unfortunately. But as we're moving through in time, dealing with some rain up here near Chicago, but bang, some big time storms start to explode here again as the atmosphere kind of becomes unstable once again, even after this morning convection moves through. And you got to watch, you know, in and around the Mount Vernon area, Carbondale area, what is that? Effingham area. Those areas could be under the gun for some big time storms. And then these will grow upscale. They'll become stronger. Somewhere in the southern half of Illinois, you'll get some storm action starting to pop off in the southern half of Missouri also. And then by the time we're at 8 p.m., we just have a cluster of storms. But kind of the beginning stages of these storms, right here around the 5 to 7 p.m. time frame, and kind of south central Missouri, southern half, the entire southern half of Illinois, these storms could produce some very large hail. Okay, and then as they evolve later in the evening, they'll kind of cluster together, become more probably of a damaging wind threat. So, you know, this is south of St. Louis, I think. You know, Poplar Bluff, you guys, these storms could get a little bit closer to you guys a little bit later in the evening, 9, 10, 11 p.m. These start to sink down into the Carbondale area, starts to get close to Paducah, Kentucky, and all the communities down here in the far southern tip of Illinois. Watch out, Evansville, Indiana, later in the evening. And these storms start to try to sink into western Kentucky, but, you know, they could lose some steam by the time they get down here. They'll start to get down here into Tennessee, might have a stormy late night in Nashville, Tennessee, Clarksville, Paris, Martin, Dyersburg. You guys could see some storms just after midnight tonight. And then we keep this rolling. We get all the way into tomorrow morning, and then it's pretty chill. So that's what could happen in this area today. Expect the storms that you're undergoing right now, that's its own severe threat, but watch out in this region right into here. See if I can pull up my little Epic pen right here. See if it'll pull up for me. Yep, it's going to ask me to download the latest updates about 1,200 times probably. But, you know, I would say right in this area, right into here. Okay, some additional storms could fire up, and they could be severe. I'm really watching this area right into here for the worst, though. So we'll certainly watch for that. Just be, you know, just if you're in the southern half of Illinois, don't think what you're seeing this morning is it. You'll have another risk later this afternoon. Moving a little bit further east into the southern areas of Indiana, Ohio, and all of Kentucky. These storms that you're seeing, in Illinois and St. Louis, Illinois and Missouri right now, these will continue to try to march in general southeast. So as we're getting into the late morning hours, Evansville, southern areas of Indiana, I hate to say southern and northern areas of everything. I like to try to mention as many towns as possible. Bloomington, you could see some storm action this morning, later this morning. Columbus, Bedford, Salem. What is that? French Lick? Okay, interesting name. Jasper, Santa Claus. Oh, Santa Claus. I love Christmas time. Santa Claus, Indiana. You guys could certainly see some storm action down here, and this starts to knock on the door of areas of northern Kentucky. I would say around lunchtime or just after Louisville. You guys could experience some storms early this afternoon. These move through, and basically the entire, I would say, northern half of Kentucky see some storms, and we'll see how much these are hanging together by the time we get into the 3 to 4 p.m. range. In like Dayton, Ohio, Columbus, places like that. But I don't expect these to be a big deal. And then you get a little bit of a lull. Some of this energy could refire back up in areas of the hills of eastern Kentucky. We'll see what happens with that. But then the additional convection fires up later this afternoon, really into this evening. And we'll see how intense these storms might be. We kind of already talked about Illinois, but you see these storms firing up here in central Kentucky. These could become severe, so watch out. Lexington, Kentucky, Frankfort. You guys could experience some storms later this evening, right when the sun is setting. And even up there to Indianapolis, you guys could see some storms later this evening. I mean, look at this big storm right here. At this point, it's about 10 p.m. It's at nighttime. This big storm south of Cincinnati in northern Kentucky, Williamstown, Florence regions could have a big storm right in that region, but it's just the HRRR model. We don't talk about the death like it's gospel, but I would mention this area right here. Watch out later tonight. It shows a couple big time storms. Late evening, getting close to midnight. Watch out this little area right here, Lexington, Frankfort, points north up to Cincinnati. Could have some big storms later tonight if the HRRR model was to be correct with the evolution of these storms. But you keep going, it's going to be a stormy night for this area right here. Okay, you could get some big storms into the wee hours in the morning in eastern Kentucky, southern areas of Ohio, even into West Virginia later tonight. And you keep this going, and we get all the way into the southern, we might as well just keep it rolling here. We get all the way into the southern Appalachian Mountain region, and have to switch it back to this, even though I'm going to cover these areas again here in a second. But you're getting all the way until about 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you could have an area of storms making its way through all the higher elevations of West Virginia. This is for 4 a.m. Southwest Virginia, eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, all the way into the mid-south, the deep south. Could be waking up to some thunder boomers as you're waking up for your Tuesday morning, maybe even areas of Virginia and North Carolina. We'll see how that evolves today. So please be aware of all those regions. Wanting to kind of talk specifically on you guys. With the rest of the Southeast today, you got an area of rain moving through areas of North Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina. This morning, that will probably weaken. Hopefully it makes it to my neck of the woods, because it'd be nice to get some rain from the sky instead of from my irrigation system. Well, we already talked about all this up here, but I would mention some storms could fire in the Carolinas today. Could become widespread. We'll see what happens, and I definitely think it will be widespread in the southern half of Louisiana down here this afternoon, and then this clears off, and then we'll watch for this overnight activity that we just talked about up here in Kentucky and Tennessee. But a little bit closer to my folks in the Carolinas today, that morning convection will kind of tamper off a little bit, and then could get some isolated storms anywhere. I'm not going to mention every single area. Upstate of South Carolina, I'm doing it anyways. Sandhills of North Carolina, Piedmont, North Carolina, could become more widespread in the eastern Carolinas. But, man, it'd be nice to get a little pop-up storm over the West household this afternoon, this evening. It's a beautiful time of the day, 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., especially when it's getting closer and the sun's starting to set. I would love to have a good old summer thunderstorm around here. Nothing crazy or severe, but something to just remind you of how awesome a summer storm could be, especially when you just chill out on the front porch. You can watch it out in the distance. But, this is for 7 p.m. tonight. Just some very widely isolated showers and storms, and even in areas of eastern Georgia, the Carolinas, maybe even Virginia. So we'll see what happens with that. Can't rule out a strong thunderstorm or two. Look at the deep south, and I think they'll become very widespread. In fact, watch out for a little bit of a flooding threat down here in southern Louisiana. This is for about 5 p.m. this afternoon. Lake Charles area to Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Even up here to Jackson. Watch out for some stronger storms. I would not be surprised if they put a marginal risk up in this region right here. These could be some strong storms, maybe severe. in this entire region of southern Mississippi, southern Louisiana later this afternoon into the evening hours. And then I think they lose some steam and trail off into the northern Gulf of Mexico. Then we'll watch these storms up here, and they'll try to make it into like Huntsville, Alabama, Florence, Alabama region, North Georgia, a little bit into the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens with that. Talking about the Northeast today, pretty quiet, and that's because you have a little bit of a trough that sinks into the region, delivers some cooler air. We get into this afternoon, some showers are possible in northern Maine, maybe even mixed with a little bit of snow in far northern Maine. Some cooler air makes its way through. Some showers could make its way into areas of Pennsylvania, southwest Pennsylvania later this evening. And we'll see some showers overnight tonight into the wee hours of the morning, drift over northern Ohio. And then eventually you're waking up to some showery activity in western Pennsylvania for tomorrow morning. But pretty calm conditions. Not very active today in the Northeast. South Central U.S. could get kind of active, especially, I would say, more active in Southeast Texas rather than the slight risk in the middle of Texas. But you could have some storm development in Southwest Texas today, but I don't expect really much anything in the rest of the Southern Plains up here in Oklahoma and Kansas. A pretty quiet weather day up here. Already kind of talked about this convection, showers and storms up here in Missouri. But, to me, this looks like it's going to be outflow driven. The reason I say that is because these storms pop up here and then they pull a reverse and they start to move backwards. That's outflow driven storms. Outflows are wild. I have a little slang term for them. I call them warp boundaries, because sometimes you'll get an outflow that's really slow moving and it looks like storms are shooting out of another dimension. It's pretty wild. I'll follow me on Twitter, guys. I'm telling you, I like to put some humor into things. It's not always super duper serious and professional. I put some humor into things. It's a great way to follow along to Twitter or Facebook. Twitter, I'm much more active though. But a little bit zoomed in, closer look at Texas. Like I said, some big storms could develop right here on the Louisiana-Texas border. A little bit later this afternoon, 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, some storms are possible north and west of Houston in the Lake Charles area. Corpus Christi area. And then we'll watch some storms that'll try to blast out of Mexico into the hill regions of Texas. These could be intense, but they really kind of blow themselves out here very quickly, lose some steam as they march their way a little bit further kind of northeast into Texas. There's a very conditional threat of severe weather right in here where there's a slight risk. Any storms that do explode and get going here in Texas, right in this region, Abilene. I know that some people say that they laugh every time I try to pronounce Abilene. Abilene. They always say use the UH. I feel like I do that, but I don't know. But a very conditional threat right into here. But there's a chance that no storms could fire up right in this region. But we'll see what happens. Very thermodynamic driven, meaning they really fire up off a lot of low-level moisture, high levels of CAPE. But there's not much forcing to really get these storms going out here. And probably a little bit of a cap-influenced environment, a little bit of stable air aloft. My folks up here in the north-central U.S., much quieter day. You could have an isolated strong to severe storm right here, somewhere in the far northeast corner of Iowa, southeast corner of Minnesota. Could have some storms in areas of the Dakotas. Very, very isolated. And could get one or two very strong storms later this evening into the nighttime hours in northern Iowa that could move its way through. That could produce a lot of hail. We'll see what happens with that. And then, pretty quiet weather throughout the rest of the overnight hours. Could be waking up to some showery activity in the Duluth area and far northern Wisconsin, northeast Minnesota region. But outside of that, some widely scattered showers are possible in Nebraska, in the Dakotas. So, temperatures today, it's likely going to get into the low 100s in areas of Texas today. So there's big time energy thermodynamic wise out here. When I say thermodynamics, I'm meaning high surface temperatures, high moisture content on the surface, higher dew points, higher CAPE levels, better lapse rates, which is basically how much do you cool off the higher up you get in the atmosphere. If you cool off rapidly, you got better lapse rates, which these updrafts love to fuel off of with the rapid changing of temperatures as you move higher up in the atmosphere. But I want to get super nerdy on you guys. But 80s all the way up into the plains, the Mississippi Valley. Warmish day, 60s and 70s in the Ohio Valley, but I think that some clouds, ongoing showers, and just areas of storms might keep you guys cool. Warm day across the southeast, very warm in Florida, 80s and some low 90s, and you can tell there's more of a summer type air mass really settling into the area. Tomorrow will be cooler though, as a little bit of a trough dips in, delivers some drier air, but it'll be very, very quick. It will not influence the pattern long at all. A chance of severe storms again tomorrow. You have a little bit of a slight risk in eastern North Carolina. We'll talk more on that tonight. Slight risk right here in the southern plains. We'll get detailed on this tomorrow. Tonight. And then you have an upper level low that could deliver some Colorado magic out here. This area in Colorado likes to deliver some very photogenic storms and tornadoes. Got a slight risk all the way into Wyoming. So this is a dry line setup. So we'll talk more into this tonight and even at day 4, guys. And this is for Thursday. For day 4, you have a 15% risk, a slight risk at day 4. So severe weather is going to continue to be a topic out here, as it has been for the last several months. But we'll figure it all out for you guys, and we'll keep you guys updated. God bless all y'all. Have a great day. Make it a great day. Even if it starts bad, continue to be positive. Spread the light. Be a light to everyone around you. God bless y'all, and y'all have a great day. Talk to you this evening.